Welcome back. While our kids are out of school, it's a great time to sit down and really connect with them. Check out my interview with ATL & Co. resident mental health expert, Dr. B. He has tips to get that conversation started. Dr. B, so great to see you.
Great to see you, Kara.
I love it when you're here because I really think, I was thinking about that this morning. For people who also don't have access to mental health care, having you on is so pivotal for a lot of people. So thank you so much, first of all. Yes. Let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. 3 out of 5 girls said that they felt persistently sad. And these numbers are, quite frankly, so sad and frightening. Do you see this a lot in your practice?
Yeah, unfortunately I do, Kara. And what we're talking about today, this is data that was based on the CDC survey that was done in 2021, and the results were just released a couple of months ago. And like you said, 3 out of 5 girls are describing prolonged periods of feeling sad and hopeless, and that number is the highest rate we've seen in a decade, and it's double the rate we see in boys. And unfortunately, according to this survey, 1 out of 3 even has some sustained ideas about suicide. So these numbers are sad and they are frightening, and the mental health crisis has been brewing and bubbling for a while. The pandemic certainly made that worse, but really every survey since 2011 has shown a rise.
Oh, that's frightening. But you mentioned the pandemic.
Yep.
And why do you think we're seeing these numbers kind of rise together, so to speak?
I think there's a lot of factors that go into that. According to this survey, girls described a really dramatic rise in trauma and violence. In fact, again, sad number here, 1 out of 5 of these girls reported experiencing a sexual trauma within the past year. So that's definitely something that's going on. LGBT youth are at higher risk for sadness, depression, suicide. Kids are reporting being more socially isolated, more lonely. And then I know we've talked about this on the show a lot, but there is absolutely no doubt that the mental health of our young people is suffering since the rise of smartphone usage. So cyberbullying and comments like, you should kill yourself and no one likes you and I hate you. Those are like daggers, right. To these kids. So lots of factors. Those are some of them, and we should start addressing those.
Well, I like too when we have campaigns like It Will Get Better, and there's the anti-bullying campaigns, and I think those do good in raising awareness and kind of give you a glimmer of the hope. But when you were speaking too, I was thinking, my mom was born in '47, and she said, we're making so many strides, and so many issues. Yeah. But it's disheartening to hear that we're still having these problems where people feel ashamed or isolated or whatever the case may be. So as a parent of 3, what should I be looking out for, Dr. B?
Well, and that's the tough part, right, is that the signs can sometimes be really subtle. And in teenagers, it's normal and natural for kids to want to pull back from their families a little bit or be more moody. But what I would tell parents is look for changes in patterns. So sleep patterns, eating habits, being less social, maybe avoiding activities. But really the most important message of today is to do what we're doing right now. Start these conversations. Let's normalize conversations around mental health and around emotional well-being. And then let's do that periodically with our kids. This is not a one and done sort of conversation, right? And you've done this probably with your young people, but talk to your kids about a safety plan for if they're experiencing physical distress or physical danger. We should be helping them come up with a safety plan if they're having emotional distress. Yeah. So, ask them, who would they reach out to if they were feeling overwhelmed? That's one thing you can do. Identify for them trusted adults besides you, because they may not come to you, but they might identify someone else. Make sure they have their contact information. Help them come up with strategies to relax, to cope, to maybe distract when they're going through some tough times. Share your strategies, the ones that you use. Let them know what you do when you're going through a tough time. It helps for them to know that what they're going through is something you're familiar with. And maybe the most important question to ask your child right now, ask them who they feel most connected with at school. Because on the CDC survey, it also showed that the kids who said that they had a healthy relationship at school had lower rates of mental health conditions. So healthy relationships are protective.
I love that. That's such good advice. I'm going to rewatch this a few times, Dr. B. So helpful. beautiful. And what it sounds like I'm making this up, but one time my child said he didn't feel good.
Yeah.
My oldest, who's 10, and I said, "Oh, what's wrong? Your stomach, your head?" And he said, "No, Mom, emotionally, I don't feel good."
wow.
And I don't think he knew kind of where to go from there.
Right.
But I was just like, "Wow, like this is so
Right.
neat," because I would never have thought to say that when I was younger. So yeah, so
and to me, first of all, kudos to you
Well,
to
I
be the
don't know.
parent
I mean,
that allowed for your child to
he's
do
a
that.
special kid. I don't know. Yeah.
You're a special parent, he's a special kid. But these sort of numbers aren't meant to scare, right? These kind of conversations are about, let's start talking about this. Talk to your child about this. Let's be there for each other. Let's check in with each other, and certainly check in with your kids.
Well, thank you for being here for us, Dr. B. We so appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
Where can we go for more information?
Well, there's lots of places you can go. This was a CDC survey that was done, so take a look at their website. There's a lot of good resources there, too, for mental health issues.
All right. Thank you, my friend.
All right. Thank you so much.